Bonjour, welcome back to the Dr.Roze Biohealth podcast. My name is Natalie and I will be your host today. Just before we start, I just wanted to remind you that if you do have any questions throughout our podcast, please don't hesitate to drop us a message on all our social media platforms at Dr.Roze Biohealth. So today I have a very special guest. She's one of our dentists at the Dr.Roze Biodental in Jumeirah. She's French. She studied in France, in Montpellier, and then she's worked all over the world before coming into Dubai. She is also part of a scientific committee at Dr.Roze. She's a real leader in biological dentistry, and it is a pleasure for me to be here with Dr. Carla Schweer today.
Hi,
welcome to the podcast.
Natalie. I'm so glad to be here to do this podcast with you.
Yes, me too. Just before we start, I just wanted to know, and for the audience to know, where did your enthusiasm about biological dentistry came about?
Actually, I come from a very biological family, holistic family. So basically, I bath in since childhood. My mom always cared about everything organic at home, and we always went more to functional doctors and general practitioner, homeopathic medicine and things like this. So for me, it was just natural.
It's natural.
When I studied dentistry in the beginning, I thought, okay, this is all mechanic. You have a cavity, you remove it, you fill it, and everything. So basically very straightforward. This was the conventional way. And one day when I was a student, a patient came to see me for a list of things to do to remove amalgam filling. And I was very surprised because I was told that these metal fillings are safe. So why is there some people who are sensitive to it? And why is there some procedure with a lot of like active charcoal and things like this? So this is where I started to do a little bit my own research, and I discover a whole new world out of the conventional way.
So as you mentioned, ever since COVID, vitamin D has been such an important topic, and we've been hearing a lot more of it. Could you please tell me what is the relation of vitamin D to our health?
Yeah, vitamin D is responsible for the expression and regulation of 100,000 genes. And basically, if you have a low vitamin D level, we could see that you are more prone to infection. So vitamin D is very important also for immunity.
So since you've just touched about the amount of vitamin D, a couple of years ago, I went to the doctors, did a vitamin D test, and it came out quite low. However, we live in a very sunny place here in Dubai. Could you please tell me what is the recommended amount?
So this is a very tricky question, but you are right. In Dubai, normally we could have an optimal vitamin D level because we are at the perfect latitude for the sun, because the UVB light has not the same incidence in Dubai than in France, for instance, in the winter. So you need. So here we are at the perfect latitude, but still the study shows that in Dubai, in the UAE, 80% of the people have a lower vitamin D.
80%. That's quite a high amount of people.
And this one of the main reason is lifestyle. Because we live inside our homes, we don't get so much of the sun. Also, if we go outside, sometimes we have mostly we have clothes on, of course. Just if you go, of course, to the beach. But to get the right amount of vitamin D per day, you should expose yourself at least 15 minutes with naked arms and face in the sun, and you would get 2,000 international units, which is already very good. But who really does that? Because we are in our daily life. And I also noticed you have a little darker skin.
Yes.
So you need to expose a little bit more. Because of your melanocyte in your skin will block a little bit the vitamin B. But don't the UVB.
Okay.
But don't misunderstand me. I don't say go out and get a sunburn, because sunburn is cancer. You should not expose yourself too long time.
Okay.
I'm just talking about 15, 20 minutes on a daily basis.
So in circumstances where someone cannot do that per day, what's the alternative?
We talking sometimes about food, but the amount of vitamin D in food is very low, and again you can only find it in foods that we not really eat so much, like fish liver or this kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So the best way is supplements. You can have very good natural supplements. This is what I would recommend.
Can you overdose of vitamin D?
Overdose is very rare. To overdose, you cannot overdose from sun, for sure. But if you take a very big amount of supplements, like at least, we have seen cases of overdose where the people took 30 or 60,000 international units, and this over a long period of time. And the symptoms will be dizziness, nausea, kidney calculus. So you would have time to notice that you are overdosing, because then, you have too much vitamin D in the blood, and you will have a too big absorption of calcium, and this is the dangerous part, let's say.
You've mentioned at the beginning that vitamin D had a relation to infection.
Yes.
Yes. I do know that at the clinic, when we have surgical treatments, it is recommended for patients to take a vitamin D test to see the level of a vitamin D. Could you please expand a little bit more or touch a bit more on what's the relation to vitamin D and dentistry?
Vitamin D is really crucial in dentistry. I always recommend my patient to check their vitamin D level, or at least, even if you don't take a test, as there is 80% of people who are low in vitamin D, it's always safe to take at least 2,000 units per day. At our clinic at Dr.Roze, we do a biological cleaning. It's a holistic cleaning, and in this cleaning we check the vitamin D level. The patient get a blood test. Mainly, this is how we prepare our patient for surgery. Because if you have a low vitamin D level, you will be more prone to infection, gum disease, and it's very important also by tooth extraction and implant placement, because in these treatments you have some bone rebuilding. This is why it's important to have a good vitamin D level. And of course also for kids, if you want your kids to have a strong teeth, strong bone, good absorption of calcium, you also need the vitamin D. So it's very important by pregnant women and a young infant and child.
Yes, it's actually pretty interesting you're saying that, because I remember when I gave birth to my kids, ever since birth, they've been given vitamin D to take daily, up to now them being toddlers.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember the dosage?
This is going to make me sound like a bad mom, but no, I don't remember the dosage. I did read the prescription, but I don't remember the dosage now.
It's just I wanted to say also that the daily official recommendation are always a bit low. So you always should consult a more holistic practitioner or functional doctor, because there is a gap between the official daily recommendation and the research. Because in the official recommendation, they just want you the right amount so you don't get sick.
Yes.
It calls the ricket disease, which makes soft bones. But we also want you to be in better health and to have a protective effect of many diseases.
Yes.
I brought you this little table from Grassroot, which is basically a little resume of all the diseases, incidence that become lower when you have the right amount of vitamin D, which is a bit above the official recommendation.
So what kind of disease can it lead to?
It shows that you can reduce cancer incidence, all cancer combined, from 77%.
Oh, wow.
Also breast cancer, 83%, diabetes type 1 for children. So by these high rates, we cannot say it's only coincidence.
Yes, of course.
And so they recommend an amount of vitamin D between 40 and 60 nanogram per milliliter. Oh yeah, it's what you see when you do a blood test, the nanogram per milliliter.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today, and thank you so much, Dr. Carla, for being here with me as my guest. We shall see you on the next podcast. Bye bye.